Okay, welcome everybody to the March 2nd COSAC meeting. And we appreciate you being here and look forward to working our way through our agenda today. Any edits to that agenda that you're aware of? We're good on that? Okay, did everybody have a chance to look at the minutes? Any questions or concerns? I didn't see anything. So in both cases, without objection, we'll approve the agenda and the minutes from the January 5th, 2026 meeting. Okay, thanks. All right, item number 3, pre-application. Is that something you'll give us a presentation on, Angie, or Lisa?
I think Kurt was going to.
Or Kurt, okay, great.
Were you going to give them any information on that pre-application that you requested?
On the application, I wasn't listening, Angie. So what was it you asked?
They're asking
did you want
about the 18 acres that's owned by DOT by
Sure, you want me to come up there and give them an update? UDOT has 18.18 acres, which is the gravel pit there in Sardine Canyon. What we've agreed to is to purchase that, and the purchase is supposed to close on the 18th of this month. We're waiting for some documentation back from UDOT and haven't received it yet. That's not unusual for them. And so our plan is to proceed no matter what, but we have been in contact with them and they have confirmed that the sale's a go. So, any questions on that?
So the plan is to use bond funds for that, is that right, Kurt?
You guys, I didn't know I was gonna have to do this, but the answer to that is yes.
Okay.
That's what we're here to talk to you about, to make sure that that's something that it's part of that whole thing and it makes sense for us to have, and we want to make sure that you approve of us using those funds for that purpose.
Okay. So were you looking for any kind of action from us on this today, or just to make sure we're aware of that the county's moving forward with this?
We prefer that you give us the permission to do it, because we're going to go ahead and purchase it because we need it. If we have to use county funds and then get reimbursed by the open space funds, fine. But that's not how we plan on doing. We're hoping to be able to use that. George, do you want to chime in here?
The rest of this project had been purchased with open space money.
Yes.
And so this is a little piece, it's kind of in the throat of access. Our primary access is the existing access, and the only way to get from the existing access to the bulk of our property, if you look at this, is through this area.
Yeah.
So we think it's a necessary acquisition to the rest of the property. We've negotiated a $160,000.
It's $160,000.
$160,000 to purchase the 18 acres. It seemed like a great deal.
That does sound like a great deal.
But the process of using open space money requires your consent. So because the state wants to move quickly and we really don't want to put this up for public bid or public interference, we'd like to have permission to go ahead.
Okay.
If your process requires additional time for you to approve something like this, we can go ahead and use county money, but then we would ask you to buy it from us and just simply add it to the existing property up there.
Okay.
We had hoped that there would be access there, but UDOT, who owns it, reminds us that that's a federal highway.
Yeah.
And they weren't encouraging that we'd be able to get any access onto that gravel.
You mean like traverse over through there or turn into there?
Yeah, actually turn into there off the highway, so they're not gonna give us highway access. At least they're saying that it would be a lot of work.
We stand in their shoes with respect to access versus the federal government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's pretty obvious. We'd like to add it to that portfolio up there, and I think that in addition to the point you made, which is making sure we have connectivity between our parcels, right, through this parcel, there's also the issue of just protecting the scenery all along the highway, immediately adjacent to the highway. I see that, it's pretty important here. So, committee members, do you have questions?
Does it connect? It joins right onto your property.
Is this
Nobody in between.
Yeah,
all contiguous?
if you can back out a little bit further, Angie, all of the property there to the north, except that box that belongs to Wellsville, is the property that we've acquired.
Cache County.
And if you look, it looks like you could go east of that red, but that's actually a very steep cliff, so you can't go east of that.
Yeah.
And those other tracks, there is a right-of-way between them. Expand it a little bit, Angie. Yeah, there is a right-of-way, but that roadway is a private roadway.
Yeah.
So, not that one, it's the one that's east of that, Angie. Put the arrow, no, it's.
Up here, sorry,
Yeah,
thank you.
That's a private
Yeah.
right-of-way, and we don't have use. So, if you look at our property, there's this little, small corridor between what is called the MGT property in the state of Utah. We would be having to try and get our people through that neck. And we think this is a far better choice to have this property. The likelihood is we'll come onto our property where the current entry is, put a parking lot, may also put something like a restroom or something with the parking lot, and then have trails that go from there up.
Yeah.
That's how we think the property will be managed.
There was funding for study. We have, because we're adding this, and because there've been a few other discussions going on, and that we would either have had to postpone that and work through it. We've instructed them just to hold off on that money. We'll reapply for it when we're ready to actually have the study done.
Yeah, great.
So if we add it, then this could be incorporated into the study. You could envision possible trails going across this property, even if we didn't have access through this.
Or actually putting the parking lot where this
Where it is.
property is.
So,
And that seems the most attractive thing to us, is to bring people in at the entry, have them go north to this area, park, and then start the trails from that area.
You don't anticipate any gravel removal or anything?
No,
Okay.
no.
it would be just part of the project.
Yeah, just part of the project. It's
Okay.
a necessary completion point.
I want to clarify your question. That, because it was a gravel pit, it is a depression there. We'll have to do some contouring to make it work.
Okay, that's what I was asking about, yeah.
How do you foresee, like, the future of this whole region in there as a county-owned and maintained recreation place?
Yes.
Great, so the county trails people would be working on kind of some development there and planning, I would suppose, Landis?
Yeah, it's, if you want to step back and a longer look, this is really a beautiful piece of property. And while we don't own the peak, this is the access to get on top of the Wellsvilles and go all the way north on the Wellsville to Petersboro. And the county owns another entry in where the Yonk family has a set of homes up that way. So we're gonna be able to park here and hike all the way along the Wellsville and come down in Petersboro to another parking area so that you could go either direction on the top of the Wellsville. I don't know if anybody else has been on the top of the Wellsville. That is absolutely stunning walk and hike, and we now got public property on either end of it next to Forest Service property. So but this little piece, it's kind of essential to complete the plan.
Do I understand too that there is a thought for a study to be done on how to actually use this area where you could there might be some trails through this area itself?
Yes, but I think we not only want to look at that, we want to look at the study also including this gigantic, I guess it's 12-mile long
Traverse.
lane. There are some things happening with the private owners there, and we kind of want those to crystallize before we spend the money to have a study done. Because the study will presume for example, we were adding this property, so it changes what we would be doing with the study. And there's still some movement in the private parties that want to do development there.
We also believe that this body ought to be involved in the decisions that we make about the uses and the study that's done.
Of your money.
Yeah. It's our money.
I just have one other question, and this would possibly muddy the waters. I don't know what the long-term plan with the Smithfield property is, but when you look at that, it looks like it would be great to have someone being the steward of that property the way it is. Has there been any thought of maybe trading DWR at the state for this property? And like I said, that might muddy the waters and not something we want to get into, but you could see DWR, they own a bunch of these foothill things for wildlife, but we have it. If it was in DWR, it would still be open space.
Now this is DOT.
Yeah, okay, and it's hard to cross those two. Okay, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, we would love to get it for nothing.
Yeah, okay.
And we do have the executive session on the schedule afterwards, because there are some of those sorts of issues that need to be
Okay.
discussed.
All right.
Any other questions?
Other questions?
So I have a question of you. How quickly can you approve this and give us authorization to use the money?
What is the process?
Right. So what I would say is, this is an unusual project. This is a council, executive-led application, if you will.
Which? UDOT or the whole thing?
What's that?
Which? The UDOT piece or the whole thing?
Yeah, the UDOT piece. Yeah, well, certainly the whole thing, but after the
Yes,
fact.
we got that midstream.
Yeah.
And we're just completing it, and so
Yeah.
we weren't aware of how much involvement you had or didn't have.
Yeah, and that's okay. So what I would say is that it's unique, so I don't know that the standard process where it's a private landowner who submits an application and it's two rounds of approval and council approval and that sort of thing really would be an effective way to handle this. I
If
think,
it's possible for you to waive your rules and just approve this, we just as soon get a check from you when we do the closing.
the council will write the checks, but we can certainly give our blessing, I would think.
Can't we just, I don't know, but can't we just make a motion to skip the normal process and have a vote right now?
I think that's what we'll do, and I wanted to check and see if there was other questions or comments or.
Well, just one other comment I have from a trails perspective is that it's gonna be very interesting and very exciting. You know, a lot of the land on the Wellsvilles, the proper Wellsvilles is wilderness area. You know, it's a very special protected piece of land, so I've never interfaced with the Forest Service, you know, and when it comes to proposing a trail to connect the trail that already exists on top of the Wellsvilles and comes down Rattlesnake Gulch to this piece, which if we could get on that ridge sooner and connect right over to the trail, wow, that could be incredible. It might be challenging, but it's a great vision and a great dream.
Well, that's what we want to try and do.
Yeah.
This is one that would be one of the premier trails in the whole state of Utah, maybe in the whole Intermountain West, to put people up there. You look down on eagles when you're on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think also this piggybacks on something we've already given our blessing to, as opposed to, it just unifies a piece of property,
Yeah.
so.
Other thoughts, comments? Kurt, remind us one more time, it was 161,000?
Even.
160 even.
Yeah,
Okay.
we will have closing costs to the tune, because they won't pay for the title insurance, and we really need to have that on that. And so you'll have incidental costs on top of that, to the
Right.
tune of maybe a couple $1,000s.
Okay,
Okay?
great. So I think what we would do is someone would need to make a motion that we waive our rules and approve, make a recommendation of approval to the county council for purchase of the subject property up to, I don't know if you want to say a specific number, that sort of thing. Welcome to do that.
That'd be a good way to do it, if you would.
I would move that we approve, I move that we recommend to the council
That we waive our rules first.
waive our rules.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how rules are rules, we have a process, right? Waive our rules, and that we recommend to the council to approve the spending of up to $175,000 for the 18.18 acres.
I second it.
Okay, any further comments or discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for bringing it to us, and it is a great project, so that's pretty exciting. Okay, sorry to put you on the spot there, Kurt. That was,
Hopefully it was helpful.
really good discussion. Okay, our next item on the agenda is a pre-application from the Polson family.
Yes, I'm representing the Polson family. We live on the west side in Petersboro. This farm is a Century Farm. It used to be 430 acres. The siblings got together before they started passing away. They lost one. And so our share of that is like 160 some odd acres. And Nancy and I we were just talking the other day about, we're worried about what future generations are gonna do with that ground. You don't make money farming, but it's been farmed since it was established, like in 1894. And there's a family cemetery on it. I have a daughter in there. There's just a lot of history and a lot of good people there. And so we're just looking for a means to kind of lock it up so that it can't be encroached upon. If you pull up our slides there, we've got developments on the west of us and to the east of us, and I constantly get mailers and email stuff from people saying they'd like to buy it, and that's not our purpose. We just want to keep it open. And so I don't know if this is a means to do it, but that's why I'm here.
Great. And so I looked at the parcels, roughly 174 acres, all three of them together, immediately adjacent to the highway there, both sides of the highway. You want to click on them? There's one.
That's the one, that's where the
Okay.
cemetery
Right there,
is.
on the
That's about
north side.
54 acres, and there's
One on the
homes all around
south
it.
side. And
And
then,
then farther to the west, oh yeah, there's one, excuse me, here's that one there, and that borders Highway 30.
there's one a little bit further to the west right there.
And that's it there, and that's up on the peak, we call it the peak, that's where.
So you can see it from the highway?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes, that's where all the radio towers are at, if you ever drive through there. We own the east half of that. And just to let you know, the Petersboro Partners, they own the west side of that little peak there. They're trying to sell it for homes. And so I would really like to just, you know, I don't want to see it in homes, and neither would Nancy's forefathers. So that's what we're after.
Great. Have you talked to any other land conservation organizations about helping you out with your application or anything like that?
I came over to the county just asking questions. Who does this sort of thing?
Right.
And then I was suggested,
Yeah.
come see you guys. No, I haven't.
Okay.
Are there others, and do you want me to go that route?
Well, typically, they can help you out with all the paperwork, and they can also act on your behalf to investigate or secure other funding sources, right? So most projects that we fund are a partnership of funding organizations, and so the county's pays a portion of a conservation easement, and oftentimes there's other funding from the NRCS or the Utah Department of Agricultural and Food through the Lee Ray McAllister Fund. So there's other potential funding sources that some applicants will work with a local land conservation organization to pull that information together. You're certainly welcome to do all of that yourself as the landowner. You don't have to get assistance from those organizations, but you may find them.
I'm not afraid of it.
Yeah.
We have some acreage up in just south of Big Piney. Anybody aware of Big Piney area? We have almost 400 acres there. We're going to put into an agricultural, it's called the Wyoming Stock Growers Land Trust.
Yeah.
So I'm going through that right now.
Okay.
So I'm kind of training,
Yes,
I'm kind of learning.
you
this.
know,
So we do have to have help with that up there.
Very similar.
I really think I could probably do this. It's not as large as a project, but I don't
Yeah.
know. Whatever.
No,
We
that's
can do
great.
whatever.
It's a sizable project. It's in one of our gateway areas.
Yeah, that we got the mailer going out, and we looked at this particular gateway, and this particular gateway, if you remember, is very, very fragmented. This is actually one of the biggest landowners in that gateway. There'll be a mailer going out. The council approved and we put together. He'll be getting it because he's in one of those areas. So.
It's in an area we're interested in other words.
Well, I just like, somehow we want to save it, so we're not fussy. And I'm not afraid to do the work. I know I need to have it appraised, you probably have to do a deed, search and everything on that, and I don't know if you require a mineral assessment, do you have to have a geologist come in? Wyoming is doing that for us.
It just depends on if there's other funding sources and what they require. We specifically may not require that, so,
Okay.
yeah.
And yeah, I can forward you the information for the couple of conservancies that we've been working with, so you can talk to them.
Yeah.
Just touch base.
So the next step for you, whether you work with a conservation organization or not, is you can just fill out our round one application. Just ask some basic questions, doesn't take a lot of time. It's meant to be very simple. It puts what you've already provided us in writing as a formal application, and we can take action on it. You could alternatively work with a conservation organization to prepare and submit an application on your behalf. So the first step should be really simple. So, and you know, you're welcome to put a value on what you're asking in round one, but it's not really until round two that we get down to brass tacks and start talking about the dollar amounts that the committee is comfortable approving on a project they want to help fund. So,
Can I ask you a recommendation? What's the best way for us? What's the most painless?
I think the most painless, but it'd be less money for you, would be you could just submit an application to us. We're going to give you what we would probably normally do to a organization. That wouldn't include like what the state might add and what the federal government might add, but I imagine we have had people just, if you're just simply interested in preserving it and don't want to go to the federal level, we could probably come up with a evaluation that we'd be willing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we've typically funded 25% of the value of the easement.
Do you require that the landowner turn back 25% of the total acreage, like the trust people were working with up there?
Like the landowner donation?
Yes, it's.
Yeah, we don't require it, but it's part of, I think, how we would recommend a project.
No, I don't mind doing that. I
Yeah.
think that's fair.
I think every project has offered a landowner donation
Cool.
ranging from 15% to 75%, so.
It improves the likelihood,
Whatever.
it improves the scoring, the likelihood and all of that.
Yeah, yeah, we're obviously, as an entity that helps recommend or the management of taxpayer funds, we want to leverage them and make them go as far as we can, and so bringing in other sources of funding is the best way to do that. So,
Okay.
Just as an example, on some projects, of the few that we've done like 25%, the state may do 15%, and then federal government does 50%, and the landowner does 25%. Now, I haven't added that up in my head, but that's roughly kind of the way it may work.
Okay. Perfect.
yeah, please, we encourage you to submit an application, so we'd love to
Oh, I'd love to.
work with you and see if we can come up with something to make this happen.
I do. I'm not getting any younger, and I want to get this done before. I don't have a choice anymore.
Great.
Thank you, and
Yeah.
time is of the essence. You know, these gateway parcels will score higher to us, and I'm counting up at least 5 Petersboro partners all over the place that
Yes.
may have a different aim than preservation. So, yeah,
They've
we'd
been
love to
trying
entertain
sell
this.
homes over there forever, and the
Sure.
thing that's stopping them was the water problem. The west side doesn't have water like the east side does. And gratefully that the planning committee and the council has said, no, they're 10-acre lots. They wanted to go 2. They wanted 350 homes right behind us. And, oh my goodness, so
Yeah,
I just want to sew it up and so it's taken care of. And what it does, it means we still own it, we pay the taxes. All it has is an encumbrance on it saying you cannot build, you
That's
can't
right.
develop. Perfect,
That's right.
perfect. And if the family decides to sell it, they have to sell it at agricultural price, and then the new owner is held to the same thing.
That's right.
That's all we can ask.
One thing on the timeline, we're seeing, if you're working with the State of Utah Land Trust and some of the local, but when you enter the arena of USDA and go for that, say, 50% grant, the time, it stretches it out. Those who have applied, we're still waiting, and you could be into a 2 or 3 year process. And it really stretches it out. In other words, if you want a land trust or an easement on your property and you're willing to do it, it can be done in 6 months. But when you go for funding, it stretches it out.
Yeah. Our process will be pretty quick.
Yeah.
What's the difference in funding? I would like enough money to fence and put some fences around it, so we have kids out there recreating on that hillside, and it's marked private and no trespassing, but it doesn't matter. And horse people, it's fine, but they run right through our grain fields still. Is there a comparison there, or is there a better way? Or is working with the county, is that adequate for us? I'm not trying to get rich.
Right.
I just want to have enough maybe to put a fence up.
Yeah, it really just depends, and I think, if all you're looking for is 25% of the easement value and you don't want to make it any more complicated than that, I think we can help you out.
Very quickly, actually.
Yeah.
Yes. The ones who have drug out in time is with the USDA and it's the big grant. It's where the money tree is, basically, and.
So you get more money, of course.
The other 75%, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that,
There's easements that are placed in the country, United States, like landowners who just say, I want a conservation easement, and it's done. They don't look for additional funding. But the county has this funding, the state of Utah, some of that funding has been committed in a 6-month period. But we got a stack of them waiting for USDA.
Okay, that's good information.
Okay.
All right, I won't take any more of your time. Thank you.
please reach out if you have more questions. We're happy to,
Read the app and those things, and I'll be happy. Okay.
thanks for your interest. We appreciate it. Okay, so the next item on our agenda is an executive session. So we will go into executive session. I'm assuming we'll just retire to the room in the back here. Okay, to go into executive session, okay. Okay, all right. So this will involve a discussion on the purchase, exchange, or lease of real property, or discuss potential development agreements, project proposals, or financing proposals. Okay, so we just need a motion to move into executive session.
I move that we move into executive session.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, so we have a motion second. Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we'll be back shortly.
What's just happening streamed on YouTube?
Maybe working out, she said, pool or something, or?
Oh, that must have been
Yeah, I think it was.
probably friends with my mom.
Maybe so. They're in Nibley.
You can take the chairs, I'll stand in the corner.
Excellent.
White Birch Creek Canyon, the mountain bike.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that special?
Yeah, it's
So cool. So if we could, when I used to live in Smithfield, I lived up right up on the course.
Oh, yeah. You know this gentleman here?
From Wellsville to, Wellsville's I've got 3 church
And then there was a little pirate trail.
I've got 2 or 3 guys that want to do this, and I still haven't seen him. 4 months later, or whatever.
Forest Service, depending on who's.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that
I thought he'd at least show up once. You know.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work.
this year they had no money.
That's right.
We were.
Okay, committee. Our next item on the agenda was status summary of spreadsheet discussion. And so I put this together. I think, I don't know if Angie or Lisa, you guys were gonna pull up. Angie just mentioned to me, because I sent this spreadsheet to her a few days ago. She made some updates to it, but I also concurrently made some updates, so we may have 2 different versions. But the one I handed out is my version that's in front of you. And so what I've been working on for a while now is to just try to compile all the projects that are utilizing bond funds into one spreadsheet, or that have made application, or that have come to our meeting like the Polson family did today for a pre-application meeting, okay? And so the table itself is broken into 3. I have a couple extra copies if you guys wanna come grab one. So the spreadsheet's in 3 different sections. The first one is open space applications, then there's a trails applications section, and then there's a council/executive projects section. And so that last section you can see is where I have the Sherwood Hills, and then I termed it the Smithfield BST Phase 2 property, but it's the Shoup property that we were discussing previously. And I've tried to retroactively fill in the information. So if we go to the first section, the open space applications, I try to show what the size is, when they initially made application or pre-application, and then what the status of either round 1, round 2, pre-application, so on and so forth. And then if it's got to the point where they've actually started talking about dollars, there's the requested amount for bond funding, there's what we recommended, there's what was approved. If it's gone that far, there's a column there, you can see bond cost per acre, which is always fun and interesting, right? So let's just take, for example, the Elkhorn Ranch project at roughly $11,000 an acre, which I would argue is a pretty darn good deal for developable property. That's the bond funding for it. You can see some of the other amounts. That goes down to $2,600 an acre for the Harris property, for example. Even if you skip down to the bottom and look at the Sherwood Hills or the Shoup properties, overall, pretty good values, right? $8,500 an acre, even though these were outright purchases, or $3,400 an acre. I mean, there's nothing about these projects price-wise that gives me pause. I mean, those are all good values for bond funding, I think. So, and then continuing on, if we know where the other funding is, there's information there, whether it's NRCS or Lee Ray McAllister, landowner donation, et cetera, other funding sources, basic location information, if it's part of the COSAC application, what the scores were, that sort of thing. So that's it in a nutshell. And then if you look at the different highlighted colors, the bright red ones is just information that I haven't been able to track down yet that I've asked for. And so as I get that information, we'll remove the red color from those boxes. There's only a few of them, primarily for the Harris Farms and the Elkhorn Ranch projects. The yellow highlighted ones, what I wanted to do with those is highlight the small parcel projects. You'll notice a lot of those only came into a pre-application sort of level, like we haven't seen or heard from those folks beyond that. And, which can mean a variety of things, right? But it, fundamentally could mean their project was not likely to receive 100% bond funding from us, right? They needed to find other funding sources, so on and so forth. You can see some of the values on a per acre basis for some of those projects, like 9, 10, and 11, getting up there to $25,000 an acre kind of threshold for those small parcel projects. Secondarily, the reason I highlighted them yellow, and because they're small projects, is I want to use this as a tool for showing the council that, this idea of using the Greenbelt tax as a funding source might make the most sense for small parcel projects where the landowner just wants to get something done relatively quickly. The project's not gonna attract other funding sources. It might come with large landowner donations associated with them, that kind of thing. So that's why
And
those
not
are
worth the $100,000. The $100,000 to go through a Bear River or something just doesn't make sense.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So I think this is great, and that really comes down to what are the desirable ones in the list that are special, right? I think in the yellow.
Yeah.
I wonder if we do a little more division here. I love these little pieces. I think this may be able to be chunked out to be like Harris and Elkhorn, for example, ones that go a little further along. That they're in a category by themselves.
Under,
At some point, they could be completed projects, yeah.
Yeah, or
round one approval.
application, round 2 projects, maybe in a separate area. Just because there's a lot of good stuff here, and I think it just help make it a little easier.
Ones that we've done everything we're going to do
Right.
on them. And
Yeah, yep,
on somebody else's table.
yeah.
This is really handy. I would hope we'd have something like this ongoing, even beyond the purpose of the yellow lines, just for our use.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how I got into it. Was I just wanted something a tool we could track project applications with, and so
Also compare and remind and
Yep.
show, I don't know if this could be public, but it would help a new applicant to see what's gone before and.
absolutely. And I don't know why it couldn't be public. I think most of the information,
Yeah.
well, everything's been public so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The title right in the middle, amount approved, is that approved by the council?
Yes,
So what that means?
ultimately.
Okay.
Correct. Okay, so this is just kind of FYI, and I'll just continue to update this. It can evolve into other formats too.
I wish Keegan was still here. I think it'd be an interesting just to ask him what would be the step on, because
Yeah,
depending on how we really feel about Cooper on the Wellsville space, going back to Cooper, if the Greenbelt money was available, for example, and Wellsville City,
Yeah.
and say, if
Let's do
we gave you this money, are you interested in buying your neighbor up? And then we have that entire pivot line.
Wow, that's an idea.
yep.
It's a great idea.
So I'll just plan to follow up with Keegan between now and our next meeting too, to share this conversation with him.
I think perhaps George Staines as well.
Okay.
Thank you. This is great. My brain really appreciates this.
Well, mine too. Like, this has been bothering me. Like, So, and Angie, you briefly mentioned to me, you had made some updates. Can you tell us what, just real quick, what updates, maybe if I haven't already caught them?
Sorry, I can't remember what I did. There are some of the red boxes where you
Yeah.
were missing. I think I did the Elkhorn Ranch, I got those resolutions on there.
Okay,
Red Farm, I got those.
okay.
Yeah, so a couple of those.
Some of the other ones I filled in between last Thursday when I sent this to you, and now were associated with the Sherwood Hills, information, and then the Champion Land Company. So I got those updated based on the minutes and going back, so. Okay, I'll keep moving this along. So item number 7 on our agenda, comments or other business? Anybody have anything they wanna discuss?
I just need a personal update. When are the mailers going out?
I got caught up in year-end stuff, and they've been passed very, very recently this morning to
Lisa.
Lisa. So
Great. That's exciting.
Yeah.
it got caught up a little bit with some input. First, it got caught up with Gabe having some input about some privacy as far as amounts that his client was approved for, just so that his client, it's public information, but
Yeah, so for the committee's benefit, the letter that we last reviewed with you highlighted, called out specific projects. And so we tweaked the wording there to just be more generic and not call out a project applicant we thought that was a reasonable request. Hopefully you're okay with that. But just to not bring any further heartburn to applicants who may want to be less bothered by the public than others, so.
Yeah.
but the gist was all like,
Yeah.
and that was the only verbiage that was changed is in that area.
Yep, so we made the examples more generic, if you will, but that was it, so. Sounds like those are going out imminently, which is great. And, the Polson family is gonna be getting some mailers from us, I think.
Yes. Yep, they were on the list.
Anybody have anything else? Questions or comments, suggestions?
We didn't meet last month. Whatever happened with the table idea at your?
We didn't do a table, he actually did a presentation.
Yeah, I guess that's worth mentioning. I did prepare a presentation, just talking about the COSAC project. Obviously, a lot of farmers and maybe some ranchers in the attendance, Cache County farmers and ranchers that were there, mostly to hear agricultural updates and that sort of thing, but we threw in a little session on what COSAC is and what we do, and encourage people to make application if they're interested. I did have 3 or 4 people come up afterwards and tell us they would be interested, so.
In fact, I should probably poll, I had 47 surveys, counted 117 people. So there were comments in there about the open space, your presentation specifically, so maybe I ought to pull that and email it to everybody.
The feedback would be great.
So, I mean, more or less that they were,
Get somebody else to do this.
no, a lot of the comments were that they appreciated finding out more information directly to the producers. So,
Great.
they appreciated that.
I do think, I'm anticipating we're gonna get this mailer out. Hopefully we'll get some interest, but I think we also will want to start talking about this idea that we've discussed previously about having just a landowner workshop about COSAC, and so maybe we'll try to get something on the calendar for later this year to do that.
I think particularly if we gather who responds to the mailer, for example, we don't want to put that burden all on you. We could put together something on introducing them to that, if we know who they are.
Right.
Are there still feelers out on another board member?
Good question. Any
Yeah, actually, I got an email from the council's policy analyst about their semi-vacant position, so I think they're following up on that.
Okay.
I think there will be some movement soon.
Apparently, as per George's comments, we need somebody that understands tax law.
It wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, some guy in the finance side.
One thing
banking
that Gabe has mentioned is a farmer has a hard time taking advantage of those.
Really?
Yes. It's wealthy landowners that really benefit from that particular deduction.
I mentioned to some of the landowners that if they do get an easement from USDA, that is considered a grant, and they'll get a 1099 on that. They'll pay tax on some of that grant. It's not tax-free.
Oh, what they're paid on, yes. Yes.
Is it ordinary income or is it play into capital gains on it?
No, it's ordinary income, to my knowledge.
That was an interesting conversation I had with some land conservancy people.
The reason I got next to it is if you get a grant for irrigation equipment, for example, it's ordinary income.
Now, your contribution, though,
Yes.
is the offset to that.
Yes.
Not the complete offset, but it's an offset to that.
Another thing, I visited with my tax accountant. He said if you get a conservation even from USDA, plan on an audit. You'll be audited. He's had audits on his customer base. This goes with the territory. So,
Interesting.
just trying to give them the reality of what they're gonna put in their pocket, you know?
Okay, anything else, staff? Anything regarding our next meeting you're aware of? Heads up or anything? Okay.
It does sound like with a couple of these items that we will have a meeting next month, doesn't it?
I think so. Yeah, we'll see what evolves.
Sorry, there was one property owner who meant to be here tonight, but will probably be on pre-app for next.
Okay,
He owns
great.
a property, I think, Lewiston, Trenton area. so-
Yeah, okay. I wonder if that's the same person who talked to me after the presentation. Okay.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, that'd be great connection. And with the mailer going out, maybe we'll have some other interest in adding to the list of pre-app discussions next month, so. Landis, anything from you and your staff?
We are getting things moving again on the Mountain Shoreline Trail. Our plan is to build that segment this year, so we're gonna bring on a consultant to help us move that project along. And, yeah, we've only had one conversation with owners get to the point of talking about compensation for the land. It sounds like they would be looking for financial compensation, but still no easements or anything yet. So we'll come back once we have easements and then the actual value of that. But then other exciting news, we've been talking with folks in Hyde Park and folks in Medford about just those communities doing some of their own trail efforts. And we told them about the trails process application for COSAC, and they seem really excited. And I anticipate they'll come to the meeting. They're still very early in planning phases, but hopefully they, within a year or so, might come in with some applications for other trails that aren't really in our purview, but the cities are looking at.
Okay, anything else from staff or otherwise? I think I will just give a reminder that all the conversations in our executive session are privileged, so, and confidential. And with that, without objection, we'll adjourn. Thank you.